Hey everyone, Andrea here. Today we're doing an app critique with Hanry Kluk. He's our guest, and we did an app critique with the Airbnb app. If you're going through a job interview process or if you know someone, share this video with them. It can be very helpful. Also, if you just want to improve your product design skills, like how do you approach problems, how do you envision things, and how do you critique an app, that would be a great video.
So Airbnb starting now. Airbnb has very distinct personas. We have the hosts and we have the guests. So once I actually never used the app for the hosts. I can discuss it briefly for the host, but I will focus more on the guest. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Just a little bit of the glimpse of what's the host experience. I've never been a host, but I imagine that Airbnb is a very profitable product. You can make a lot of money with Airbnb. So I think the business is pretty solid. Also, of course, there's some conflicts around the world about like if Airbnb is good or not. But in the end, like it seems that the experience that they provide for hosts are very good, and as I said, it's very profitable, especially it depends on the city that you live. So I think they have very. I heard that they have very good customer support, and also they provide very good experience in general for you to host your place. So this is just a glimpse of. This is just a small overview of the host. But now we are going to focus on the guests.
Okay.
Okay. The main purpose of the guest experience. The main purpose of the guest is for you to find a place to stay. In this sense, everyone that has like credit card, you can take a place. You can just find any property and book this property, and boom, you already have a place to stay. And just you need to discuss just some details with the host. But it seems quite simple experience. Now, recently, Airbnb also added the experiences. So you have a difference in between properties to pick up, and also experience for you. This doesn't sound so clear for me. How do they differentiate these kind of things? But anyway, we are going to explore this during the app critique. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through the main flow, which is the main flow. I will find a place for me to. I will look for some places. I will pick one place. I will book this place, and then I will see how it works. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So as a guest, I'm looking for a place to stay during this. During this outbreak, of course, it's going to be a bit difficult, but let's say in the normal time, we're just going to New York, okay? So my first impression when I look to this app is like, there's just a few colors on the app. I feel that you can see there's the focus more is for you to check the cards and illustrations. There's not so much illustrations, but like the cards has like a very good and pretty neat pictures. There is no, as I said, there's no much color on the app. I can see only just the brand color. The red is a quite pink color, and it takes a lot of it brings me a lot of attention when I see this color. I know it's something important is happening. Like for example, this I know that there's this is a super host because it's rated like 4.9 stars. So
why do you think they chose to be very lean on their color usage there?
You mean like in general, or
yeah,
just
in general, right?
color?
Because you mentioned there's a lot of white and then only a few points of color for actionable links. So why do you think they chose to use mostly white?
I think it's for you to it's very it's really for you to highlight what the pictures can tell you, because experiences and houses are very important. Like if I can, I can literally like have a small glimpse and be very inspired just by looking by this picture. So I feel they are really trying to focus only on the for you to have like a quick scan on the pictures and other elements rather than just like having a bunch of colors on your face. So I feel that is more about for you to focus on the pictures for itself. Is it does it answer a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So rather than the main red, I have also this call to action here, the visit resource center. But yeah, I would like to close this information, but like it seems that they want this information to be more prominent and important. So I can't take it off. Anyway,
Do you mind if we go back to the top of the screen for a second?
sure.
So can you talk us a little bit more about the first banner there about COVID-19? What do you think that is?
Sure. Well, COVID-19 has been affecting all the experiences of renting and housing and all the well all of the business involved on vacation and traveling. It's gonna be very affected. And I, even before using the Airbnb, I was thinking about what Airbnb are going to do about this. So I really feel that this is a very important. They put this very on the top and highlight information, and you can see you cannot even close this banner because it needs to call your attention. So I feel that it really calls my attention. You can see here the type is the same size as the normal titles. So it really brings it really catches my eyes for it.
Nice.
Yeah. And I feel it's quite neat actually. It kind of merged on the actual layout, just only not because of it's quite strange. Some of the cars they have a different angle on the radius corner, but some of them not. But anyway, it's not something that like really annoy. It's annoying, but it's like it's just strange. Yeah, some of them they don't even have the radius. Okay, so it's this. It looks like a newsfeed. It's not a newsfeed, of course, but it looks like an infinite feed because there's so many information here that I can't even understand where this information is coming from. Like, I can imagine that this information came from the last previous search that I made, but I don't know if I want to see all of this information, you know. And as I said, like there's no very good distinction in between what is an experience and what is a place to stay.
Right.
It's only like you can see only by the picture. So I assume that what they want to do with this is also because they want to make more money out of the experience. So I think they are trying to merge these two universe in the traveling experience.
Do you think this is a good approach?
No, it just confused me.
Okay.
But it's of course my experience. But I would say I use quite a lot Airbnb, of course, not because of the outbreak, but I used it a lot, and I never understood much of like what is why do they don't differentiate this.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some saved place here. This card doesn't tell me much. The illustrations are quite nice, but if I look for this card and if I look for what they actually means, I don't see much information. I would like to add some information. For example, if I already stayed on this place, or like why this place is like saved on my preference. But actually, I don't know if I already been to this place or not.
Okay.
Yeah. some of the things that I would like to mention as well is that, for instance, if you are traveling with someone else, sometimes you're not traveling alone. I would like to have. I don't see any like way for me to create a list of nice places that I have. So something that I would like to add here would be something like a shared list of properties, because when you are like searching, especially when you're going to a very big place, very like place such as like New York, for example, and you have like many places saved because maybe you're staying longer, or maybe because you need to research a lot for you to find a good pick up a good spot, and or especially if you're like traveling a lot, like you're going or you're doing a backpacking on Southeast Asia, and you have like a many place, but then you cannot actually share with other people. So I this is something that I would like to see on my saved list.
Do you mind? Yeah, I was just gonna say if you could jump into the card. So you just did that, yeah.
Absolutely. As I said, I don't see much about why this information saved on my spot, rather than just because I clicked on the like button. So for me, it doesn't mean much.
Right. And
Yeah.
do you think you can share with your friends the Lisboa bucket from that page?
I can share with them,
Right.
but there's no way for me to involve anyone on my list.
Okay.
This is a thing that I would like to do. That I could benefit. I think that many people could benefit, like in creating more long plans, like long trips with their partners or friends. So I think it could be interesting.
Right. So you mentioned that in the previous screen you would like to see an option to share the card with friends, but then as you go inside, you can actually get that sharing functionality from that page. Is there a reason why you think they have the sharing option there and not in the card, in the list view?
I would say that actually this is one of the idea. This is one of the reasons I was exploring, because there's no way for you to share the list, but there's only the way for you to share the property, right? Yeah, I think my guess here, I'm guessing, but I don't see much like they're trying to cover this scenario of sharing places with other people. So I don't know. This is something that I would like to be more prominent, but
Okay.
yeah. Okay. This trips function, I suppose that is just something that I have like when I booked already a place, and then I will see. Yeah. Oh, I have here my past place that I stayed. Show more trip plans.
So this is a place that you went already.
Yeah, this is a place that I rented already, and these are people that joined me to that on that booking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more? How do you feel about this experience?
Yeah. Let me think a bit. I think this is actually pretty nice that I can involve, like, for example, here I had like more friends that was with me, the address. This tells me a lot about the experience. It's even like really nice that I can remember the experience that I had. I have all the information here, like check in and check out. But to be honest, this is something that I would like to see more on. No, actually, I can see on. It's just it's just a little bit small here. For example, October 19, October 2021. This is something that I didn't notice in the beginning. So for me, this is a very important experience. Like this is a very important information that I would like to know more about. What kind of or when I stay there on that place. And I can't see much the difference in between if I click on the card and if I click on show the trip plans.
Okay.
Show more trip plans. No, it seems that everything is the same. So it's quite strange. I have like different meanings of actions getting me to the same interaction. I don't feel it is a very nice experience. I don't actually see why do I have this longer card while I could have just a neat small card showing even more information. And this card is like quite big and I have like not much information on it. So I would make something that I would like to see here is like more information on the card that drives me to take any conclusion before opening the card.
Okay. One thing, if you could talk a little bit more about a little bit more about intentionality, like if we look into the navigation bar in the bottom, why do you think they have those icons there, like those entry points there? Why do you think they have explore, saved trips, inbox, profile? Why do you think the trips is not inside of profile or saved is not under profile? If you could like walk us a little bit through what do you think about the navigation there?
True, of course, yeah. Let me think. First, I have some very important information here, but it's like more personal information. The inbox information, I feel it's like usually inbox for other mobile applications. Sometimes you have like just a small icon where you access the inbox, while only when you have a new message or inside of your profile. But I think for Airbnb, you communicating with your host is very important. So I would say that is like it's a very important feature. So I feel that is very interesting that I have this on the bottom navigation here. So this is quite important. Even though when I don't have like new message, I would like to check sometimes like what's happening and what is the last message that I sent to this host, because I feel it's like very important. The trips. I think it's interesting for you to understand like what is the upcoming or not. But I don't feel that I could have like just a dedicated space for this like this, because I don't know if you let's say if users mainly thinking about a use case that you book an Airbnb for you to stay for your next trip, I would say that mostly you're gonna use this screen like not so open, right? Because you're gonna have like here one or two cards. So I actually don't see much the relevance of using a dedicated screen, especially for this. For the past, of course, because I have a long list, but as I said, I don't see much relevance on these cards. I would like to see more neat cards, big, smaller ones. The saved information, of course, is very important because then I have my list, but I don't see much relevance, of course, on the cards as well, as I mentioned. And explore definitely is the most important feature that you need, because you're actually constantly looking for places and looking for experience. So even though you're not like planning to stay, but sometimes you're just like thinking about a use case that you're like just wondering that you can visit your parents, that you can visit some friends in special event or special times, and you go to Airbnb already to check the price of this thing, then you might like start to make some calculations in your mind. So I would I would reorganize this in order of importance. I would reorganize the Explorer for the on the middle and see if we can convert more people like for finding places and actually booking places than just like having the trips on the middle.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
This would be my thoughts about it.
Cool.
Cool.
And do you think this is a common navigation pattern for Android? To have this in the bottom, or because I usually see every time you have like an Android app, they usually have a menu, a hamburger menu in the top area. So what do you think about this? Why do you think they have like this as the same as the iOS one?
Yeah, definitely this app doesn't use much of the material design principles. So it's not at all. If you cannot put this app at the side of like a very heavy material design app and compare it both, because they don't use like most part of this is not at all animation that you have in material design. For instance, like material design would use a very different animation and there is more interaction here to change the search, for example.
The search, yeah.
So this you're right. This bottom navigation is not so much strong on Android apps. And something that I also feel a bit doubting is like you have a long list of things, but the bottom navigation bar doesn't disappear. It could disappear if you're just like scrolling. That would be so much nicer. That could enhance more, even though it enhance even more the experience of you like looking for the beautiful cars, because the cars are beautiful, but you don't have much of the I would like to navigate them seeing a full screen, right? But of course, like in my perspective, I feel that they really they need to make you see those features of this. But in my perspective, I would like to see to remove this, to hide this bottom navigation bar if I was searching for places, because I feel that would be enrich even more the experience of you looking for properties or experience.
Yeah, and then since you mentioned material design principles, is there anything else that you feel that is not properly suited for Android experience for apps? Is there anything else?
Yeah, sure. If you look for the very common transition on the cards, when you click on the cards for material design, you see that how is the name of that? But it's in material design has a very specific kind of like animation principles, even how you expand or reduce the card. And this doesn't follow the material design experience. So it seems that is a kind of a mix in between iOS and Android, but I actually don't like much. Yeah. So this, definitely these cards are not like a material design principle, and this is of course a very different situation. But yeah, I think it's a mix of iOS and Android, and
And then why do you think they're doing this like this?
That's a good question. Let me think. I don't have a very strong feeling, but I don't have a very strong opinion. But my view is that, as I remember, the principles and also the design of the app is almost the same in Android and iOS. So I feel that Airbnb is actually, they're not doing that because for saving time or saving money, because they don't need it. But I feel that they use some sort of hybrid development code. So I think they're reusing all the elements and the components on both of this operational systems. So I feel that they actually have the same experience in both of devices. And yeah, but I would like to see something more dedicated to Android, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now we have 10 minutes left. If you could walk us through a task in the app, that would be nice. And so I guess like you can try to, let's say, book or pre-book an experience.
Absolutely.
Perhaps?
Yeah. So first thing, I don't like this animation. It's just like a modal screen that appears from the bottom. But anyway, and the text field just changed the size. But as I mentioned before, I'm going to where is my oh, okay. So I have so I don't need to type, but I have a little bit yeah, okay. Can you see my board, my keyboard? Okay. New York. Okay, I'm going to New York. The first thing that I notice here is that I don't see New York again when I tap on the screen. So I have places to stay, homes, hotel, amazing. I don't see, but I think things to do, experience hosted by locals, but I don't see actually where I'm going. So if I, for some sake, I just forgot that the place that I searched. This is, I think, I would like to put some like, you search it for New York, right? So what can you help? What can you see in New York? That's yeah, okay. Good. Add dates. Add guests. Me and my girlfriend are coming. No, I don't have any kids. This is a quite strange experience. Like you have to tap on a button called search with a magnifier here. This seems to me a bit okay, but the buttons in the right direction on the right side. It seems to me that I'm going to the right direction on the navigation part. Okay, so then now finally I have the results of the search from about New York. Nice. We are almost in the end of the funnel, so I assume that the end of the funnel of Airbnb is when you book a place. Starting with awareness, starting with searching, and then you have your explore. Something that I would like to mention here is like sometimes I feel it's pretty daunting for you to input all the information when you just like want to. For example, I came back. And now I have to input all the information again, unless if you already have the saved search. But if you want to look for another place, San Diego, I feel this flow, it's a bit daunting for me. I would like first maybe to see some properties available on the place, then before putting the number of guests or the dates, and then I would like to see an experiment to see if the people researching for the properties before and putting adding the time later, if they can actually book more places, right? Because then you're actually, if you're already filtering your property, so which means that there are some properties just because you put not the right date, you are not allowed, you're not going to see that property, right? Once, if you're just like exploring those places on the city without any date, you might could like even change your plans if you found like a very good location. So this is something that like I would be interesting to make an experiment to see if people like book more places if they have less work on doing that.
Nice. Let's say that's a nice idea. So let's say you work there and then you move forward with this idea. What would be the first step for you to implement this? You mentioned you would experiment with this. How would you go about this experimentation? Like what methodology would you use to do so? And also how would you measure the success of it?
Sure, absolutely. That's a big change. So I would need to convince a lot of people. But of course, let's say that I have a good hypothesis that it can change. It can improve users' life. So I would start creating a A/B testing with people convert more. Let's say converting here is like booking a property. People convert more without first take off the step of the dates and see if people converting more. And then I would like also to reduce even more, take out of the step of the number of guests and see if they convert more. So I would like to see those experiments like in A/B testing and see in the end of the funnel if like the number of the conversion. Then I think that is a good way for us to move forward and see if this solution could be implemented or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there other metrics you would look at?
Let me think.
You don't have to, but I mean, what do you think?
I think task completion time, it's like definitely is going to be affected by this, because if you first need to think about the dates, and if you think first about the guests, and then you need to find the location property, maybe the time completion, if it's just looking for a place, if you're just like if you just have just an exploration, right? You want to just like explore that place. So maybe your task is just like find a nice property, maybe to share with your girlfriend, because you're both going to New York. So your task in this sense is not book a place properly, but you want to find nice properties for you to think about the next trip. So in this sense, if we frame this task, then task completion time would be very important for us to frame this. But in the end, like, I think conversion, of course, is more. It will be most affected, and then the conversion in the end.
Okay,
good. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Finally, then we have our list. Something that I really love that Airbnb did recently was they put very prominent button here on the bottom called Map, because this is actually what I wanted to see. Of course, there's two different use cases here. When you want to, like, for example, you want to stay on a more like high point of the city, then you might look for like this map, because you want to see, oh, okay, this is close to the Mission Bay. This is close to that Pacific Beach. This is close to that. This is a different use case. But I have a strong feeling that this use case would be even important as the list, or even more important as the list. So I also would like to see if we showing the map beforehand for people, they would convert more or not.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's good at least that they put this map button, like this floating button, which is quite strange. But anyway,
why do you think this is strange?
Because it doesn't follow any kind of like guidelines of either iOS or either Android. Android, usually they have the float button is on the right bottom, and here we have like this button in the middle that doesn't disappear, and it's like constant, very super black. So it's there's no way for you to just deviate like or look around. There's this button is very constant. So an experiment that I actually would like to see in this page is always like also, again, disappearing with the bottom bar and disappearing with this map button, because, well, my phone is quite big, so I don't have problems with this. But if I had like a smaller phone, as I used to have, like, I don't know, iPhone 6 or 7, that experience for looking this card would be much less joyful. Yeah. So, okay, we are looking for San Diego. I'm gonna find the hipster casita in location. I'm gonna share with someone here. I'm just gonna share with a friend. Okay, then I check all the information. Let me think. This list is pretty neat. It's easy to understand all the information. This information, this is a rare find. Hillary's place is usually booked. This is a very nice information. It's a very good glimpse. So I would put even more in highlight this information. Maybe create a card, or maybe create just a small pop-up here that I could see more evidence, because it depends on if you just like go very quick on scrolling, you might not see this. Can you see this is a rare find?
Yeah.
So I would say that that's something that I would like to make a tweak. Just see if you put this more dedicated on the page, like put maybe a background color. That would even more improve the chance for you to book in this place. This is an experiment that I would like to see as well.
Yeah, great, cool.
Yeah. But in general, I think this shows me a lot like what the place has, what the information that the place has. The reviews, it's super useful. I would like to see maybe more than one review for the list. But anyway, it actually works. It's very the reviews are everything on when you're booking a place. But to be honest, I don't know why this review here is like ranked on this which kind of criteria that they use to this. So I don't know why they did that like intentionally, but I would like to see if we could just find a way for us to rank this review based on like users preference or so.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We are almost running out of time, right?
Yeah. So I guess so do you have anything else? Sorry.
No, this is just it. In the end, if I reserve, then I have this booking, and then I'll receive a notification, and then I open the conversation in the inbox with the host. So it's it's quite easy to use, but I feel that there's a lot of room to improvements.
Cool. And then I guess my last question would be, let's say you could you went through a task right now, right? So like book book a place to stay. Like, is there anything else that you would prioritize to work on if you could right now, generally speaking, in the app? If you could do anything right now, let's say to improve Airbnb app for Android, like what would that be?
Let me think. I would create a very, very strong difference in between booking a place or booking experience, because in my point of view, this is a different kind of like, this is a very different market. This would be even like we're underusing the opportunity for us to book experience, and we are just kind of merging things inside of the booking experience, something that I wouldn't like, because I'm looking for I'm exploring place to stay. I'm not exploring experience. So I feel that Airbnb is doing that because they want to push this to the users to really get used to this, to make more money. At same, like for example, Uber using on the bottom bar, Uber now has Uber order food, for example. You have like order book a ride or order food. So I think it's a kind of the same strategy that they're doing this. They're pushing you to be used to the experience, but something that I would like to explore is also like creating a very distinctive experience for you to book experience or book a place. This is something that I would like to work on.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, great.
Yeah. Great.
Do you want to get some feedback on this?
Yeah, let me just finish where is it? Okay.
Okay. I guess overall we did a good job. Like we were in time. But I guess what I can say that I lacked was right in the beginning a little bit of sense of you giving me an overview of how your walkthrough would be. So if you could just like tell me in a structure that you would follow. So okay, so during this critique I want to talk about the app navigation, then I want to talk about the design system a little bit, some interactions, some patterns that I noticed, and then in the end I would like to explore a user flow. So just give me a little bit of like an overview how you're gonna go about doing this. That would help set up the tone. something else that I feel like you could add right in the beginning is to talk a little bit more and explore a little bit more the goal of the app, and also the mission of the company, and what is the values and the mission of the company. So not only saying, yeah, you can book a hotel, but like who is the audience that are probably going to use this app. So the goal of the app is for travelers to, and try to make this a little bit more humanize it a little bit more than just going for the business aspect of it. So the goal of the app is to help travelers to explore the world, so they can book stays, they can book experiences. Yeah, it would be good if you could research a little bit more, even like what's the mission of the company, and bring that up. And then and then mention something that I missed was to make it very clear what are the main audiences that this app focus on. So in the beginning we talked about the hosts and the travelers, but within the travelers, like who are we talking to? Like, so maybe we have this power user, someone that travels around 5 times or more per year. Maybe we have a host that only travels once in a while. Maybe we have someone that's more focused on experiences rather than booking stays. They just want to be able to explore experiences. Maybe it's even someone that wants to do experiences within their own city, so they're not even there to travel whenever they travel. So I just felt like a little bit more of exploration around, okay, what's the audience here, the primary one. And then just to follow up on this, I guess a good tip there could be for you to go about the critique from a user audience perspective. So I saw that you had your walkthrough from your point of view as you as a person, but maybe if you can walk us through from a niche. Like, so I'm gonna go through the critique from a perspective of this use case of someone that travels. It's a very active traveler, but right now, because of the locked in, they can't travel, so they have to cancel a book, but they are planning to rebook it. So let's explore the app from this perspective, from someone that has to make a cancellation, but they are looking for what they can rebook in like 6 months. So just go through it from a use case perspective. That you mentioned, there were like a few moments that you mentioned, like when you saw the map view, you mentioned so maybe this is for this use case if you live by the beach or something like that. But then if you can bring that for the whole process, I think that would be nice.
Yeah.
And I really liked when you mentioned the Android patterns. This is something that it's very important to mention whenever you're doing the app critique. Make sure you bring up some interaction patterns from that platform. And then what do you think about it? Like, if you think that resonates with the platform or not. So it was good that you mentioned the search, like navigation. It wasn't like a natural for Android. So those things are nice. Something that I missed is a little bit more about intentionality. So every time that you point out something, oh yeah, I would do this because of that, or I like this. You mentioned a lot of things that you like. Just make sure, again, try to not make this about yourself. Like, I like this card. Try to think from the use case perspective. So you can say, and I believe that this carousel here could be extremely useful for this use case or this audience because it allows them to do this and that, which is pretty much the things that you like, but you can frame as like, why is that beneficial for this audience? And then and then so I guess that's like the most important thing, which is everything that you say, try to point that towards the goal of the app. So not only say, because for example, at some point you said something really good, which was enhance the navigation. You were mentioning why you liked something, and you said, yeah, that's really good because it can help enhance the navigation and improve the experience. But then if you could stretch this a little bit and try to say how is that related to the goal, to achieving the goal of the app.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be like, yeah, it enhances the navigation, so users can easily complete the booking. So overall, we can achieve the goal, which is like increase the bookings faster or something like that. So just try to always like, don't make it vague, you know, try to tie that up with either the goal of the app, which can be like conversion there, right? Like to make bookings, or with the mission of the company. So whenever you say improve experience, I guess that's a good one. So whenever you see something that you're gonna say, yeah, this improves the user experience, try to relate that to the mission of the company. It improves the experience, so people, and that's great because Airbnb is all about a great, like making sure people feel delightful in their app, and try to make it easier to book and like something that's exciting for them. I don't know.
That's great. That's great.
But yeah, you brought up some use cases, which was really good. Oh yeah, I really like that you mentioned that you was going to do some A/B test, because you proposed some ideas, and then I asked you, yeah, how would you go about this, and then you mentioned like I would A/B test it. So that was good, and then you mentioned some metrics. I would just try to think about like a little bit more the long term. So whenever they ask you like, yeah, how would you do this? So A/B test is something that is very like short term. So you can think about the strategy. So when I asked you, you mentioned, yeah, there's a lot of things to do there. It's a lot of changes. So you can try to frame this as more like a strategy point of view. Like, yeah, the way I would go about this strategy is start off with an A/B test, so we can easily and detect the effect on conversion. And then if we see a positive result on our primary metric that we want to see, we can move forward and iterate on this, doing some research to try to, so kind of like create a roadmap of how would you approach that. So I can see, okay, it's not about the A/B test, but he thinks in the long term, like how would that involve in the long term. And then whenever you mention the metrics, don't only mention the primary one, which is, I mean, conversion in that case is the primary goal of the Airbnb app. But I think you should mention more about the main KPI, which is, let's say, talk about customer experience, customer satisfaction, and the metrics would be how would that be reflected. So you can say, yeah, so my goal here would be to improve the customer experience by making it faster for them to book, by removing those steps, and then we can see the effect on this of this on time spent throughout the funnel, and also in conversion, because that's our primary business goal. So I feel like don't try to be so business driven. I guess that's my point. Try to be more, think about the customer experience. And then whenever you're talking about metrics, again, if you can think about the long term as well. So of course, conversion is the primary one, but there's also customer service contacts, adding stuff to the favorites bucket. So there's some other, like NPS score, for example, is something else that we might look at. Contacts, social media mentions. So there's like other metrics that are not primary, like it's not the conversion, but it also helps you to understand if the customer satisfaction is being kept, or like the engagement rate, how that is, right? Like time spent, you mentioned that. So just explore other metrics that you feel like it could also affect that.
Sure. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, was amazing. Was really good. The insights that you gave me was very good. And I think all of them make sense. I'm happy with the result of the critique in general, because I I never had. I'm not a power user of Airbnb, and I didn't do any kind of like pre-research before coming to this critique session. So I feel at least for like a first run running an app critique for Airbnb, I think that it was good.
No, and I also think you pointed out a lot of details, which was great. And I felt like you have a good product sense and a sense of interactions and interface and colors. I feel like it's more a way of the how you conduct the storytelling, like not putting yourself as the primary user, but putting, you can even frame like, okay, I'm gonna go through from a perspective of someone that just created an account. So this person instead of you, something like that. But it's just it's just around the storytelling and making it a little bit more human. Don't mention so much like the business effect of it, like conversion, making money. Try to humanize it more, right? Especially because Airbnb is a brand that is very human driven, customer driven. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was amazing. Was much better than I was expecting. Thank you so much. It was really great.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.